Ford Model A Q&A.
Welcome back. I'm Model T, and I've got Paul Shinn with me today, otherwise known as the Model A guy. He's here to answer some questions.
Let's do it.
We have got Buck today.
Hi, Buck.
So this is based on one of the videos. I'll kind of put it up there so you know which video I'm talking about. And it had to do with rebuilding two-tooth steering boxes versus replacing with F10 steering box.
F100.
Oh yeah, F100.
Yep.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay, gotta keep me in line. So he says you neglected one part. He wanted to know the most. It's about the shortened Pitman arm. Is it a good idea? He says, I see them for sale, but wonder what you give up for what you gain.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Yeah?
so I remember the question. I remember your question, Buck.
Nice.
So what it was is he was asking about switching from a Model A steering box, which is basically 1.5, 2 turns lock to lock, to an F100. That was a big conversion a lot of people did for a long time. And I mentioned that if not done right, it's really dangerous. But I also mentioned that Randy Gross is the guy who does them right.
Nice.
Which, by the way, Randy called me and he says, hey, I heard you were talking bad about my steering boxes. I said, no, absolutely not. I said, you're the guy who does them right. He said, okay, let's just keep it that way. So, hi, Randy.
Hi, Randy.
Anyway,
we love you.
We do love you, Randy. So Randy actually makes the whole shaft with the worm gear and everything as one piece. He doesn't weld two shafts together like a lot of the other F100 conversions are.
Oh.
And so his are done safe. So what that does is it almost gives you like power steering sort of, but it makes it so there's more turns lock to lock. It's not like a stock Model A, 2 turns lock to lock. It's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 or whatever turns. So you turn the wheel more to make the car steer so much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the shortened Pitman arm kind of does the same thing with a stock Model A box. You certainly would not want to run an F100 box and a shortened Pitman arm.
Okay.
You would not want to, you'd be doing this forever. Okay, the shortened Pitman arm, there's a couple of problems with that, why I don't like those. And number one is it does change the ratio of steering. Your steering box is still only going to turn so much lock to lock. The shortened Pitman arm makes the car turn less for the same steering wheel input, which means you cannot make as tight of turns by switching to the short Pitman arm. That's the thing I don't like, number one.
Okay.
And you know for a fact, even today, the tour we were on today, there are times when you need to make very sharp U-turns, okay?
Yeah, totally.
Depending on who's leading the tour, depends on how many of those you make. But with that said, the other problem is if you have some looseness in the steering box, let's say, and you put a shortened Pitman arm on it, it actually kind of exacerbates that. So the car wandering all over, or if you have death wobble or whatever, the shortened Pitman arm makes that worse, not better. So if your steering box is 100% super tight, you can get away with it. If you have a little slop in the steering or in the box and you put a shortened Pitman arm, it gets way worse. So
it would be really bad in a 7-tooth.
I hate those. That is the worst combination possible.
So it would work better with a 2-tooth.
It would, because you can adjust the mash and
So long as
tighten
it's adjusted
it
properly.
if it's not worn out. But either way, I do not like the shortened Pitman arms at all. Zilch. I would never put one of those on my car. If I bought a car with one of those on there, I would tow it home, and the first thing I would do is rip that off and throw it as far down the hill as I can.
With all the other stuff?
With all the other stuff down at the bottom of the hill, I'd put the correct length Pitman arm on it. And if for some reason, because, like Bob, I mean, there's a legitimate reason for needing steering that's easier, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so like Bob in his business coupe, because Bob doesn't have, he's 95 years old. He doesn't have the upper arm strength to do this.
And he had a stroke.
And he had a stroke.
So he needs the easier.
He needs the easier steering. That F100 box, Randy Gross box, thank you very much, Randy, in his business coupe is perfect for him.
Nice.
There's your answer, Buck.
Hope that helps.
Keep those Model A's driving for generations to come.